Boss move. Now that's a boss move. Boss move. Ladies and gentlemen, now that's a boss your host, Naomi Greenlee. Let's go. Let's go. Yes, you can do all that God has for you. Yes, you can have all that God's planned for you. Now that's a boss move. That's a boss move.
Well, welcome to Bossmoves with Naomi Talkshow. Naomi, yes, Bossmoves with Naomi Talkshow. Well, if you're just now tuning in, you are tuning in to the Bossmoves with Naomi Talkshow. I am so excited to have you here. Super excited to have my guests in the house. Look, this is going to be a great show, and you guys want to stay tuned from start to finish so you don't miss anything. Well, I always say, look, at the beginning, I always give an inspirational talk. And with the Bossmoves with Naomi show, I always say that, yes, you can be, you can do, and you can have all that God has planned for you. And that's the boss move. Well, let's start out here with our inspirational talk. And I've been thinking about a few things. And one of the things I thought about is love thyself. You know, a lot of times people are wondering, why isn't this happening for me? And why am I not meeting the right person? And different things like that. But you know what? First, you have to start out knowing how to love yourself, a balanced way. So I've come to realize that some people do not love themselves, not that, but they don't even like themselves. So how can we get them to love themselves? They don't even like themselves, but they want other people to love and like them. So the first person that has to love you outside of God is yourself. So that's the way you're going to bring in. So what you don't know is that is the root cause of any of the situation, the issues that you have in relationships, and the issues that you're facing. So what kind of relationship, first of all, do you have with yourself? So if we don't have the right relationship with ourselves, how are we expecting others to know how to have a relationship with us? So now what do I mean by that? What kind of self-talk do you tell yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Are you saying the right things to yourself? Some people will say things like, say you made a mistake, you say, oh my God, I'm so stupid. This is crazy. I'm just crazy for doing that. Oh my goodness, nobody will like this. This is crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. Just constantly saying all these negative things to yourself. This is what I think about. If I had my grandson up here, standing here, and I stood him right there, how would I feel saying, oh, you're so stupid. You're so crazy. Who does that? But I'm going to say it to myself. Why can't I love myself? I love my grandson, but I can't love myself. Why am I saying that to myself? Because what that's doing internally is causing more issues for myself. It's putting that energy out that is drawing people to see. You don't know what type of reflection you're throwing off yourself to other people when you do that. You may come with a smile and a grin, but what they see is that smile and grin being a little fake, because a lot of times people can see through that. And you don't know that people are actually seeing through that, because the Bible does say that the eyes are the window to the soul. So they look in your eyes and say, I don't believe her. So definitely you don't want to lie to yourself, and you don't want to talk bad and down to yourself. So not only what you say, listen, I know we talk a lot about don't say the right things to yourself, the wrong things to yourself. How about this? Before you even say the wrong things to yourself, guess what happened? You thought the wrong thing. So now we got to control those thoughts. Control those thoughts. I'm constantly working on that. Because if you can control your thoughts, because you know what you're thinking eventually is going to fly out of your mouth. It's going to come out of your mouth. Because everything, all of that on the inside of you that's boiling up on the inside, it is going to come out. So you want to be very careful what you're thinking, first of all. If you're thinking right, you'll speak right. You know how you know when a person don't think right? Listen to what they're saying. Because they're going to say pretty much what's on the inside. Now, some people can fake it for a little while, but not too long. After a short time, they're going to start really speaking what they really believe, because you can't hold that forever. So, just because, and I look at this too, just because you don't like what the next man or woman like, doesn't mean that you're wrong. You may like jeans, somebody else might like a dress. You might like yellow, somebody else might like black. But does that mean that your decision, what you like, is wrong and makes you less than or worse than? No, because we're not measuring ourselves by ourselves. So this is a part of our thought process, thinking, oh, well, everybody likes that and I don't. No, you're you. You're supposed to like what you like. Be the individual you. Now, there are 5 things that you can do, that you do when you truly, truly love a person. There are 5 things. First of all, you're going to what? Encourage them. If you love someone, you will encourage them. If you love someone, you will respect them. If you love someone, you will honor them. If you love someone, you will pray for them. And if you love someone, you will do the best for them. Now let's turn that around. If you love someone and that someone is you, you should encourage you. You're not going to always get that outside encouragement. So you should encourage you. If you love you, you should respect you. Don't demand respect if you're not respecting yourself. I think that was an R-E-S-P-E-C-T song, wasn't it? So if you love yourself, you will honor yourself. Celebrate things that you do. Small things that you have accomplished. You know yourself better than anybody else. If there's some goals that you've reached, celebrate yourself on that. If you love yourself, pray for yourself. Pray for yourself just like you'll pray for somebody else. Pray for yourself. And if you love yourself, that someone that you love, you would do the best for yourself. You know how they say, living my best life now? How are you going to live your best life and you're not doing the best for yourself? So the Bible does say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, how are you loving your neighbor? Because sometimes some people, the way they love themselves, I don't want you to love me the way you loving yourself. I need you to love yourself first, then love me that way. So that's what I think on loving yourself. Those are things that you know when you love someone, truly love someone, and that someone can be you. You want to do those things. So I always say, like, if God loved you so much that he sent his son to die for you, then why can't you love yourself? He loved you that much. The one who created us loved us so much. Death was involved to show you how much he loved us. So that means that we should love ourselves as well. And I always think like this. So now you can attract the right one in your life when you know how to love yourself. You won't attract the users and abusers because you're not using and abusing yourself. You're attracting people who know how to treat you. So maybe, let's think about this, because people love to blame stuff on the devil, right? Maybe the enemy is not the problem, but maybe the inner me is the problem. So when we can get that inner me together, we definitely will know how to love others as we love ourselves. All right? And that's my inspirational talk for you today. Thank you so much. Well, you know what? I always think of things that I want to share, and the things that I share with individuals is something that I do hope that will help you and help you in your thought process, that will move you along. I have a program that I have that's called just Renewing Your Mind. Basically, that's basically what it is. It's a program that I'm sliding together here. Well, it's already put together. I just haven't put it out there yet. But it's called Rewire Me. And the rewire me is you rewiring your brain, your mind to think different ways and to know how to treat others and yourself. So look for that in some form or fashion to be coming out soon. So I will be pushing that out. But when I return, music there, okay? So when I return, we're going to give you some financial tips. I have the financial woman in the house herself, so I'll just be giving a few tips. We're going to rely on her information. But I'll give my tips as I usually do. That's her expertise. We're going to let her shine, okay? All right, so I will be back with the financial tips, and this is the Bossmoves with Naomi Talkshow. Oh, and I mean, mean, that's the geek in me, I guess. I love doing stuff like that, you know, thinking of different ways to do my finances. So I'm going to give you a few financial tips that some of the things I've actually added into my process, or some of the things that I've researched that I'm adding in. And so each time I try to share some of those things with you. So I'm going to run off about 10 financial tips, and you might grab 2 or 3 of them. So if you have a pen and paper and you want to write them down so you can have access to this information and add it into what you're doing, I think that would be very exciting for yourself, and you can do some research on them. So the first thing a lot of us don't even do, but we want to do, you want to start out, especially for newlyweds or people who are just now focusing on their finances. The first thing you want to do is, how about listing out your debt first? You know, don't just keep it in your head. Write it on the paper. List out your debt so you'll know what you're up against. So if you list it out, that's going to help you. So number 2, pay more than the minimum on your credit card. You know the reason they have you paying the minimum, so it can carry on all the way as long as they have it, so you can pay all that interest. And they can get all the money out of you that they were planning to get. But if you pay that off early, you're going to save some money in your pocket. Also, you want to automate your savings. What do I mean by that? Have your savings automatically coming out when your check comes, or on a weekly basis, or however you want to do your savings. Have it automatically done, automatically coming out of your checking account into a savings. So that's where you're building up your savings, all right? So automatically, a lot of times we're not going to go to the bank and drop it in. So just let it do it on its own, all right? And it will build up. Now that is something that I do. Also, do an annual review over your finances, over your electricity bill, over your credit cards, over everything that you have. Make sure you just do a clean review over everything, all the bills that you have. Because you may see, oh, there's something you're almost finished paying off on, and so that monthly bill, you can put it towards something else and start paying that other thing off. Another thing is, write down your goals. Do you have any money goals? Do you have any money goals? Are you wanting to take a trip? Is this a particular bill you really want to pay off? You know, anything like that. Write down any of your money goals. Write those goals down. Now you have something that you're looking forward to try to get rid of off of your plate, and then build your savings up a little bit more. How about this? Have a no spend day. Anybody ever do that? Have a no spend day. Like this week, I'm going to have at least 2 no spend days. And I mean lunch and everything. We grabbing stuff out of the refrigerator. I would not be stopping by the fast food restaurant. 2 days at least, I'm going to have a no spend day. That no matter what, we're not spending any money today. We're not spending money today. You know how you tell your kids, no, we're not buying that at the store. Sometimes we got to turn it around and say, self, we're not buying that dress. So it's a no spend day, and pick a couple of days out of the week that you're not going to spend a dime. Sometimes I stay home just so I don't spend anything, because as soon as I get my foot in that car and drive, I am going to spend. So I have to make sure I have a no spend day, a couple of them. Start saving for the holiday right now. Don't just jump in and say, girl, Christmas is in 3 weeks. And now you got to use a whole paycheck and you miss some bills. So start saving that money right now for the holiday. Put it aside. Who you're going to spend on, how much you're going to spend, and that's the next thing. Get a limit on how much you're going to spend for the holiday. So you don't overdo it. You overdo it when you don't have a particular level that you're trying to stay at. Then you go over that. So you want to make sure you don't overdo it. Start saving right now. Oh my goodness, this has literally saved me some late fees. This next one. Set up auto pay. I mean, I miss and paid some late fees so many times. A few things that, like, you a day late, you paying. I'm like, wait a minute, it was just yesterday. I'm paying you today. Come on, it's a day late, you're paying. So you know what? Auto pay, they went on. I set them up on auto pay, haven't had to pay them a dime extra since that day. So I love auto pay. Just make sure the money is in there, okay? Just check those dates, make sure the money. And so if you know you got that bill coming up, that no spend day help you out. You're not spending that money. Also, one last thing, stop overpaying on your taxes. Did you know you can redo your taxes? Some people do their taxes one time, 10 years later, they haven't touched that W-4 again ever. So go back in, look at your W-4, look at what you can cut out, because the government's not going to tell you that you're overpaying on those taxes. They'll give you a little bit back at the end of the year, but you can get that back on your paycheck. So stop paying too much on your taxes. Well, that's my 10 tips for financial tips, and I hope something helped you in there and that you'd add it to your list. And these have been the tips of the Boss Moves with Naomi Talk Show.
Your host, Naomi Green.
Welcome back to Boss Moves with Naomi Talk Show. So excited to have you at this segment, because you know what? This is the cooking segment. So look, on this show, we're going to inspire you. We're going to give you some financial tips. We're going to feed you in a healthy way. And then next up will be the reason we're here. But let's get started. Now, this is a sandwich that I'm going to put together for you. And this sandwich is called the pesto, basically the pesto sandwich. All right? I don't know if any of you have ever tasted pesto, but that's what this is here, the pesto sandwich. Can I get a napkin, another napkin? Pesto. That's what this is here, okay? So we're gonna really work with this today and make sure you get some of this taste in, all right? So the first thing we're gonna do, we're basically just using regular bread. Thank you. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is gonna cut up a few little vegetables. It's just gonna be a couple of sandwiches, so we're gonna cut up something really quick here, okay? And so we're going to have tomatoes on this, and it's going to look like I'm doing a lot, but there's really not a lot, you guys, okay? Cooking is fun and easy, am I right? Yeah. So we have tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, and anybody who knows me, that I don't leave home without my avocado. I love avocado, so any sandwich that I do, I'm always trying to put some avocado on that sandwich. It's good for you too. It's that healthy fat, what they call it, healthy fat. We all need a little fat in our diets. So that's going to be the avocado. And then I simply love red onions on a sandwich. So let's get a few slices of this red onions. All right, we're going to add that too. These are all the things we're going to end up putting on this sandwich, okay? Got my little greenery spinach in here. We're going to add that in there. And I got to have a little cheese, guys. But guess what kind of cheese this is? Go veggie. It's vegan cheese. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good, okay? So we're going to have some of that on the sandwich. Yeah, this is going to be so good. And then at the end, I'm going to give it an extra little kick. Now for mayo that I put on here, this is veganese mayo. So we even have vegan mayonnaise, all right? And if you only knew all of the health values in this apple cider vinegar, the Bragg Organic, it has to be the Bragg Organic. This is delicious, and this is going to help you. This actually helps with high blood pressure and just a lot of different things. This actually balances you out on the inside. And you always want to have a little EVOO. So you're going to have a little EVOO. And I always say, make sure if you get this, make sure it's a glass bottle. Don't do plastic bottles for that type of food, okay? For that type of item. And we're just going to spray a little bit of the butter flavor, not actually butter, but butter flavor. And at the end, it's going to be a little bit of a kick that I put in there. So let's just start piling it on. And the first thing I want to do, because this is the pesto sandwich, I'm going to put a little of this on here first. Now, I make pesto sandwiches and I love them. And there's one other thing in that bag, it would be turkey. I thought today, even though I'm doing all the vegan, and I always do vegan for you guys, it's in the red bag. But this day, I'm actually going to add a little something in here. On one side of the bread, I'm doing pesto. So always make sure that before you're out cooking and doing things like this, that you have washed your hands. On the other side, thank you. On the other side, we're going to do the vegan mayonnaise. All right. Now from here, I'm going to just get a little bit, not much, because this is pretty strong, but I do want some in there. And all you need is just to kind of shake it on there a little bit, just to get some of that in there. A little bit of EVOO. Okay, and spread that around in there. Just evenly have it out. And we're going to have a little bit of this cheese on here. You guys, this is really good. Okay. It looks pretty easy so far. All I'm doing is like stacking stuff on, right? Now we have our tomato. Want to put that on. Little onion. Definitely got to have a slice of this yummy, yummy, yummy avocado. All right. We're almost done here. I'm going to put a little bit of the greenery, a little spinach on here. And this actually, believe it or not, is not going to be a deli sandwich. It's going to be more of a, could be deli, but it's going to be a hot sandwich, okay? Got a little spinach, arugula. And I am doing the cracked pepper turkey. So cracked pepper turkey is really delicious. If I do any turkey that is not smoked turkey, I'm going to do cracked black pepper, basically. That's what it is. So I'm going to put a little bit of this on. And I think I got really huge pieces. But that's all you need. Not much, not much. Okay, so now we have our sandwich put together. Get the edges here. Ooh, got my cuisine music. Okay, that's how we're supposed to talk, right? Okay, darling, so what we're gonna do today? Do I sound different? Did I really fit in? All right, so what we're gonna do is just a tiny bit of a spray, because we don't need much of this, okay? Squirt, squirt. And we're gonna put this in to, guess what? The George Foreman is gonna work for us today. All right. Ooh, we're gonna let that do its thing, do its thing. So how do you think that's gonna come out? You think you don't like this? Woohoo! It's gonna be crazy, huh? That's gonna be crazy. So I am so excited. This is called the pesto, simply the pesto. And at the end, I'm gonna do a different little twist on this pesto sandwich. You're gonna see, and I don't know if you like this kind of thing, but you're gonna try it today. So I will need some volunteers, and I hope everyone volunteers, because I'm going to cut it up where we all can kind of just taste this thing I'm putting together here before your eyes. So I'll maximize, George. We're going to maximize. So you can get ready. This is timed show, okay? So we need you to go ahead and do your thing. He's doing his thing under there. It's working. Woo! I'm ready. So I hope you like it, the little twist I do. This is gonna be a little different. So even if you don't think you like this kind of thing, I'm gonna ask you to try it anyway. Because sometimes you just have to try some stuff, right? Be surprised, you might really, really like it. And you don't have to keep it in here too long. That's long enough. Look how beautiful that is. Ooh. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do, all right. Now I have enough for another sandwich if this, if I have more than 4 volunteers. Okay, who's gonna be first? Okay, here's the little twist. I told you about the little twist. Blue agave. Just a little bit of a twist on there, because I'm a self-proclaimed chef, so I gotta do it like that. Look at this, my darlings. This is beautiful. Okay, and I hope it tastes as good as it looks. So, can I get some volunteers to just kind of come line up, at least 4 people? At least 4 people to get you to taste this delicious presto. I'll say this delicious presto. Presto. Okay, you can just take it from there, right there. Oh, I need some napkins out there for you guys. You gotta have a little swirl of the organic agave. I hope you guys love this and want to try it at home. This is one that's going in my recipe book. I have a Bossmoves with Naomi talk show recipe book coming up. Oh, I thought I had 4 plates. Sorry, hold on. Let's just put it on here on the napkin, right? There you go. Okay, so I need the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. So I can make sure I put this in my recipe book. This is something I created, so I just want to make sure. Do I have a consensus? Is it good? Is it good?
Yeah,
is it good? Huh?
I think it is on that one.
Woohoo! So guess what? I have some more, and are we gonna have some more? Do we have anybody else? Oh, somebody don't like avocado.
I'm allergic.
You're allergic? Oh, okay. Did you want to try? No, she don't. Not you. Okay. Okay, all right. Well, I'll have one for myself later. It looks good. But I've already cut it up on the avocado. I don't want to cause any issue, We're going to leave that alone. Okay. You keep telling me that. I'm sorry.
I keep waiting for you to do a recipe without avocado.
Well, the last 2, I didn't have any avocado I did because it was all fruit based.
Really?
And it was so good. My daughter still fixes that thing and she can't stop fixing it. So while we're standing here, you guys, do anybody have any questions? So if I came out, finished my recipe book, can I get a hand of anybody who would purchase my recipe book?
I would.
You would? You would? Okay. I got some really healthy stuff in there. Really healthy stuff in that book. You would really like it. So I'm going to do some, when I know that my guests who don't like or can't do avocado are coming, I'm going to make sure I do their recipe without it. I just got to know you're coming. Well, I tell you what, this is the end of the cooking segment, and I hope you guys really liked it. If you are on there, and you like that cooking segment, watch out for the Boss Moves with Naomi Talk Show recipe book coming soon. Thank you.
Yes, you can have all that God's planned for you. Now that's a boss move. That's a boss move.
Welcome back to Boss Moves with Naomi Talk Show. Wow, this has been such a fun time with you guys, but I tell you what, now we're to the exciting part that I've been waiting on our guest today, Tiana B. Clewis. Too excited to have her. She is a financial lifestyle coach. If somebody telling me they are financial lifestyle coach, I need to have you in the house because we need some coaching, right? All right, so if you will help me welcome to the front of the room our financial lifestyle coach, Tiana B. Clewis. Woo! So happy to have you. So happy to have you. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm very excited. So I wanted to start out, I know a lot of people who will be listening to this are going to just love these answers that you're going to give and all the information that they'll get from this. So I'm excited about it as well, as you can see, because I even have a whole segment of my show for financial tips.
And I'm loving it, by the way.
Oh, great. So Tiana, would you tell us, first of all, I want to know the story behind what brought you to this point that's got you here on this to be a financial coach.
So this journey is a little interesting because it started with me needing a financial lifestyle coach myself. That's really what it comes down to. My husband and I, when we got married, we had two totally different styles of managing money. And so I was the type of person that I'm on my way to getting out of debt and him not so much. And we were not doing a good job of just meeting in the middle. And so it was like money fights and chaos, and it got so bad that we reached a point where we combined are making six figures, but we couldn't afford to pay the light bill.
Oh,
we had to sell his gun to pay the light bill.
Okay.
And we're like, what is happening here? We make too much money to be this broke. We've got to do something about this.
Right.
And so we went into a program called Financial Peace University, and we started killing the game. Like, we're just paying off debt, paying off credit cards, closing accounts left and right.
Wow.
And so we decided we wanted to help others do the same. So we started facilitating the course. But I realized that a lot of people that were in the course were not taking off. Even people that had been in the course with us before we started facilitating, they weren't taking off. I'm like, what is the problem? And next thing you know, after each class, I'm sitting here showing people how to take these concepts they just learned and applying them specifically to their situation. Because the reality is, people are smart. We get the concepts, we understand what's going on, we know what we need to be doing, but there's something in the back of our heads that tells us our situation is unique. It's different. These rules don't quite work for me because of A, B, C, D. And so I realized, CLOUD birthed out of me realizing that people need help understanding how do I take this broad concepts and apply it to the nuances of my life. And that's where this business came from.
Wow, that is awesome, girl. That is really awesome. Yes, you deserve a hand for that. You know what, when you were talking, it was making me think about wisdom. You had wisdom, because what is wisdom? Wisdom is knowledge applied. They had the knowledge but didn't know how to apply it. But here comes a woman of wisdom that knew how to take that knowledge and apply it to not only your life, but to others, to show them how to do it with their unique situation. What we don't know is that a lot of people have the same type of situation, right? And so it's not as unique as we think, even though it is different than the next person. So
yeah, I mean, I've had different clients, and I mean like spanning across different age groups, and I see a lot of the same themes over and over again. And one thing I had to realize when it came to the coaching is that it's not about the math. In fact, it was never about the math. We think the money is about the math, but what's happening with our money is actually a manifestation of what's going on inside of us. It's really a symptom. So if your money's out of control, if you can't get out of debt, if you're getting deeper into debt, if you can't seem to make ends meet with your bills, there's actually something going on inside of your heart, inside of your mind, inside of your spirit that's keeping you from making the decisions you need to make to get where you want to go financially.
You know what that sounds like to me? Like I just talked about earlier, it's not the enemy, it's the inner me.
Yes.
That's exactly what's going on. So we can't blame it, everything, can't blame it on the devil.
No.
Devil made me do it. No, the inner me, not the enemy. Okay, cool. Very good. Well, I'm really excited about that. So let's tell us a little bit about now what you do as a lifestyle financial coach. You hit on it a little bit about how you show them how to apply what they've learned in those classes. So do you actually sit down with individuals or families or couples and you look at their bills? Or tell me how that looks.
So what I like to do is the first thing I want to figure out is, what are you trying to accomplish? Many of us, the reason why we're falling with money is because we don't even know what we want to do. We don't know what type of life we want to live. And so one couple I was working with, they said, here's what the type of life we want. We want to be able to wake up one day, say, babe, let's go on vacation for a weekend. We don't pack any clothes, we don't pack anything. We'll just buy what we need when we get there, and we just get up and go. That's the life we want to live.
Okay.
Well, I can put some dollars to that.
Okay.
Because if I want to just be able to get up and go anywhere in the country, and I know that on average it takes about $1,400 to get to New York, and that I need to spend maybe another $300 on clothes, that means that in any given time, of course I got to add a little extra for food, a little extra for the hotel. Any given time, I need to have $2,500 just kicking it in the bank just so I can go travel. I can help you reach that goal.
Right.
Where saving $2,500 and being able to do this once a quarter, I can help you reach that goal. You want to buy a house? I can help you reach the goal of buying the house. And it's just knowing, what do you want to accomplish? What do you even want your life to look like in the first place? That's the first thing I help you figure out. And then from there, we can backtrack into the numbers. That's easy.
Wow, she make it sound so easy, doesn't she? Like, oh, easy, smeezy, got you, I got you. Oh yeah, you say what, you oh what, I got you. Well, well, that's what you need in a financial coach, somebody who can make this thing that seems hard easy. Because you know what, a lot of us have gifts, and that is evidently her gift, that allows her to look at this as, this is easy, why aren't you doing that? But that's because, Tiana, that is your gift.
It is my gift, yes.
Wow. And that's why, hey, it's a good thing to be able to make money off the gift that you have.
I believe wholeheartedly that everyone should be making money doing what it is that they love. If you don't wake up, there are going to be days when you're like, I don't feel like doing this right now. There are moments when I'm about to go into a coaching session and I'm like, I don't feel like doing this right now. But let me tell you that every time I come out of a coaching session, I am energized, I am excited about life because I'm doing what I love. I love helping someone when they're like, oh, I can't get out of debt, I'm never going to be able to get out of debt. And then I'm able to, within an hour, we work out a plan where, you mean I can get out of debt in 18 months? Yes, darling, we can make this happen. And so when that hope appears and that light bulb goes off, that's the most important and the most exciting part to me.
You know, I wonder, like, what if you had sat down on your gift and didn't do anything with it, as so many people do with their gifts? Other people are missing out on that type of a blessing that you are to a lot of people.
I talk about generational curses all the time because for many of us, money is a generational curse. If no one in my family ever had money, I feel in my heart like I'm never really going to have money, so I don't really push myself that hard to try to have money. Or I will fall into the same habits that my family members fell into. So maybe my family members thought it was okay, let me go and get a TV from Cons. Okay, first and foremost, their name is Cons. They're conning you out of their
How about that?
But if your family has shown you that that's just what we do and that's how we get the nice TV, then that's what you're going to operate in.
I love you, okay? Because seriously, you are speaking my kind of language. When you're saying that, because, you know, my mind goes like this. When I had a Facebook Live I did just the other day, and I showed the statistics on what they're saying, the reason why a lot of black people don't own homes. And so they had the statistics out there, it's because of this, it's because of that, and it's because of this. And I say, okay, I'm going to tell you the statistics, but then I'm going to tell you what the real answer is. The real answer is their mindset.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's, what they have been conditioned already and what's been passed down and their mindset of what they should and, the norm for them. Because what I came from, my mom owned her home. So one of the statistics said that the reason they don't is because of the down payment. It's because my mom didn't have a lot of money. She had a lot of kids, but she didn't have a lot of money, but she owned her home. She fed the neighborhood. So she was like a whiz with money. And I'm like, why didn't I ask her anything about that?
But you know what? That's one of the things that we as parents need to do a better job in doing is teaching our kids about money. So one of the things that we do with our kids is they don't get allowance. We did that for a little bit and we're just like, am I really just gonna pay you to sit here and do nothing? Like, no, that's not how this is gonna work. You're gonna do chores and you're gonna get paid for your chores. You don't do your chores, you're not gonna get paid. But other things that we do is we teach them, for example, about lending. And so if one of my kids says, hey, can I borrow $5? Okay, fine. But you got to pay me back within 2 weeks and you have to pay me $6 because that extra dollar is interest.
Oh.
And so then that changes their whole mindset. And they're like, oh, I'll just save it up.
See, and that'll carry on into adulthood. When you look at that and see all those interests that you're paying, like, well, you know what, I won't do that on there. I'll save it.
Because it feels like that extra dollar I've added to a $5 seems like a really high percentage. That's 20% of what it is that they borrowed. Well, most people are spending 16 to 26% interest rates on their credit cards. So you're doing the same thing for a pair of shoes.
That's the truth. Because a lot of times, I used to think about that a lot. When I started looking at how much you were paying for your house, they say if you pay for it after 30 years, you would have paid for that house 3 times.
Yep.
So what I decided to do, I'm going to pay cash for my house. One way or another. Lord, you're going to help me, right? Because I know I can't do this. And so that's the way I was able to pay my house in cash. Because I just I didn't want to do that paying 3 times for it. That bothered me.
Yes.
So, got that out of the way. But tell us something else. What do you think when you were going through with your husband and you all went through the class, what do you think was the key thing that allowed you to really dig in and pay those things off? So the people in the audience and who are listening, maybe having an issue like that and they want to know, well, what was it exactly that she was thinking about? What did she do? Tell us about that.
The number one thing we did was we had a shared vision. So we made a decision together on what was our financial future going to look like. And so part of that was we wanted the house here. We want rental properties. He wants a condo in California. The dude is obsessed with California. And I don't know if y'all know what those housing prices look like, but that's going to be expensive. But then there's also a vision of when we die, how much do we want to leave to our children? And we have 4 kids. That's a lot of money. And so with that shared vision, because we painted it, and we painted it so vividly that if we were talking about a beach, you can feel the sand between your toes. Super vivid vision.
Yeah.
And so everything that we were doing, we did together to get to that vision, because we're pushing to, this is the vision that we want for our life. And so one part of our vision was to have a really nice house in a really good school district. And right now, we live in a really nice house in a really good school district. Mm-hmm. But we were very intentional about the work that we did and the decisions we made to make sure we got to that place. And so that's what we're doing for the next set of things, the getting out of debt and the getting rid of credit cards. We have a business that we are about to start and we're about to launch together. And so because we have this really vivid shared vision, then we're working together as a team to make that happen. Too many times couples have different visions of what they want retirement to look like, and so they're not working to the same things, and so you don't end up coming together as a unit and making things happen.
Woo! I love that, because you don't end up making it happen and you wonder why it's not happening. You haven't figured out that your visions are not even the same.
Yes.
You thought they were because of the few little things you said. That is really, really strong. That's key. And you said another thing that was really key. You said you imagined it so till you felt the sand between your toes. Yeah. And you know what the Bible speaks about that. You know, it even tells about in Babylon, it said even if you imagine, they imagined it so strongly that they were able to do it.
Yes.
Your image that you put in, there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to be said about that imagination and what you're putting in your mind and what you're able to do. If you can focus and really feel that thing, and that's it, you have to feel it, not just think about it and say, okay, that's what I want.
Because we have to get to a place where we're not thinking about instant gratification.
Right.
And so if I have this really vague and cloudy vision in the future, then it's really not that important to me. It's not going to motivate me to decide that, you know what, I know that my homegirls are going on this cruise, but if I go on this cruise, then that means I cannot pay off this credit card. But you know, paying off that credit card, if I don't have some sort of really solid vision coming attached to it, then paying off the credit card's not sexy enough to avoid going on the cruise.
Right? That's awesome. So, I mean, I know you're just kind of girl, you dropping some nuggets here, spitting that knowledge. I love that. So, what would you say to a couple, maybe they're, you know, newlyweds, been married, I would say under a couple of years or whatever, who hasn't really sat down and talked about that goal? They know they have the issue, but they haven't sat down and really pen and paper that thing. So how would you have them to start out if you were actually coaching them?
The first thing I would do is I would tell them to put a meeting, like a family meeting on the schedule like you would a date night. If that's how you schedule sex night, make it as important as sex night. Like it's because it really is that vital. You put it on the calendar and then you sit down and you follow through with it and you write out very vividly, here's the vision that we have, here's what we want life to look like, here's what our numbers look like right now. So how do we bridge that gap between there and where we want to be? Because the thing that ended up happening that I didn't quite realize is that when we got on the same page and we're working together as a team to make the vision happen, our money fights stopped. We
Wow.
used to fight about money to the point where he would go sleep in one of the kids' bunk beds if they weren't home. We don't fight about money anymore.
Wow.
Like, ever.
Wow. And that ends a lot of marriages.
Yes.
That fights about money, because they never come to the conclusion that we need to come together for real on our goals.
Research shows that if you and your spouse fight about money at least once a week, you are 30% more likely to get divorced. Now that's on top of the statistic that you already have 50% chance of getting divorced.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that's 80%, about 20% chance to stay together. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's not the picture we want to have, right? Well, you know, that's really good. So what would you say to like a family who has children and they're trying to save, and they have working on a little money and they have bills they want to pay off? Wow, that sounds like a lot on one plate. How would you get them started?
So the first thing you have to do, and I love that tip you had about list out your debts. Well, I'm telling you to do that with all of your bills. Because if you really think about it, all a budget is a plan for your money, where you've made a decision that these are all the bills I have, these are all the things I want to do. Let me write it down on paper, and then I can figure out where I need to shift and to adjust some things to be able to hit the goals that we've set for ourselves, for our children, and for our family. And one of the things that I end up telling parents, and I have to do it myself, like I have to check me, is that your kids cannot do everything. Right. So if your kid playing AAU basketball and being on the volleyball team and being a ballerina is causing you to go broke, pick one, and that's their thing. We have 4 kids. Each kid gets one thing.
Right.
And we do that from a budgetary standpoint, because if we, like, basketball is expensive, gymnastics is expensive, and one of our kids, we're trying to figure out, are you a music kid or a sports kid? Are you both? We got to figure out which one you prefer. It's expensive. But if I'm trying to get out of debt, I need to prioritize the debt over my kids having fun. And ultimately, for most of us, when you consider the statistics about going pro and becoming professional, your kids are pretty much having fun. So are you going to put your retirement at risk so your kids can have fun?
I like how frank you are about it. It's just,
I just got to be honest.
that's really good. You know, and when you were saying, I always say, you know, to write it down, because one of my sayings is, ink it, don't think it. Because a lot of times people will just say, well, I'm not going to write that down because I know I got a bill. I know I have an electric bill. You know, I know. Yeah, you know. But you need to put that on paper still. You still need to put that down so you can have some order. And you can, you know, because things slip away, you know. It's just, I know about those things.
And there's one thing about human nature is that we like to make the picture rosier than what it really is.
Right.
So the bill is always going to be lower than what we thought it was. That
Right.
debt we have is always going to be lower than we thought it was. And the money in the bank account is always going to be bigger than what it really is. And so that's always going to land you in a bad situation. So we need to function not on what I think, not on what I feel. We got to function on facts.
One thing I learned, if you don't write that stuff down, and if you don't write down even your paychecks and things like that, is many times, and I've made this mistake many times, and that's why I even write mine down like a checkbook now, you know, when I get the check in, is because there are many times when I was in my head about my money, and I'm thinking, okay, so I should have about what, $250 left over from that. Looking there is $25. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to? So when you don't write it down, you're going to go there. You're going to go there.
And that happens a lot with people with auto pay. Like, I love the tip to put your bills on auto pay.
Right.
But if you're not monitoring what's going on in your bank account,
Exactly.
auto pay can actually jack you up.
Right. That's why you got to stay on top of that type of thing.
Yes.
Make sure the money is there and no extra stuff is coming out. So that's definitely a good tip. Stay on top of those. So give us one of your, just some famous tip to us. You know, you're the financial lady. I just want to hear one of your specialties that you like to give.
One of my special tips. Really, my biggest tip really comes down to focus on the facts and not on your feelings. So I feel like it's important for my kids to be able to have these fun activities. But the fact is, if your kid has to miss out on basketball for 1 year for you to get your student loans paid off, I promise you it's worth it. When I say focus on the facts, I'm also saying do the math. Sometimes we think, oh, if I just pay this much, I should probably pay it off in 6 months. But you might have miscalculated the interest rate. Or you might not even know how your bank calculates interest rates, so you end up calculating it wrong. Some banks calculate it by the day. Some banks calculate it by the week or the month. And so if you don't know what they're doing, then you can end up putting yourself in a situation where you're now demoralized because you focus on a plan that was based on feeling and not on fact.
Wow.
That's the most important thing I end up reminding my clients of. They're like, oh, I think I can do it in this long, in 8 months. And I'm like, okay, let's do the math. And we'll do the math. And it's like, oh, it's actually 12 months. I'm sorry.
And that's it. Just definitely making sure you focus on those facts and not the feelings. That's really, really good. So one of the things, now tell us anything that you'd like to share, just something else you'd like to share with us. I know I asked questions and I just want to dig in and see what you do. I know you mentioned that you all are going to, do another business together. I'm not sure if you're ready to talk about that a little bit or not. But my last question I always like to ask my guests is, what is your next boss move? My next boss move is actually my second annual boot camp. And I'm insanely excited about it. So September 13th and 14th, I will get untongue-tied in a moment. We are having our Dream Builders Business Boot Camp, and it is specifically for women entrepreneurs who are trying to learn how to be profitable. I have a business degree, and there's a lot of stuff that I've learned about in business about profitability that they didn't teach me in business school. Right. And so one of them is really where I get a lot of my questions is the money aspect of it. And so how in the world do I make sure that I know what's going on in my business? How do I figure out whether or not this, this service line or this product line is actually valuable for myself? Because it's easy when you're a big corporation, you have a team of accountants that will do it for you, but what if you hate accounting? How do I figure it out when I hate accounting? So diving into those sort of things, I'm super excited. We have some speakers coming. One of our speakers, he's going to talk about building strategic relationships, because networking just for the sake of networking, it's dead. It's not working anymore. Right. So how do you do it in today's age where it seems like we're super duper connected, but we're still distant from each other at the same time? So how do you build strategic relationships so you can improve your business? So I'm insanely excited about the boot camp. Okay. So that is my next boss move, is my second annual boot camp. It's going to be a great time. Oh, wow. That sounds good, girl. So tell people how and where and all of that good stuff, information about it. Give that information right now. So you can find the boot camp at dreambuildersbusinessbootcamp.com,
Or if you want to go on my website, CLAFC.com, you can actually link to the boot camp there. It's also on Eventbrite. It's on Facebook. I put it everywhere. You can find it. So Dream Builders Business Boot Camp, wherever you look, I promise you will find it there. Because I want to make it really easy for the ladies to get connected and to be able to really just build their businesses, because the reality is, until our government does something to change the fact that wages are stagnant but cost of living is not,
right,
building a business is going to be vital. But if you want to be able to maintain your sanity and enjoy your life, whatever business you build needs to be something you love doing. So let's do what we can to make all of that hard stuff, all of that really scary stuff, like that money stuff, let's find a way to make it easier for you.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. Well, you know what? I've asked my questions, and so I know that some of you may have questions in the audience as well. So if you have any questions, we're going to open it up to Q&A right now. So if anybody has a question that they want to ask, something that you think you know, or you heard her say you wanted to clarify, or you just had this question you wanted to ask somebody who knows about money. So now is the time. Our Q&A is open now. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask at this time?
Do you recommend investments? How to invest?
So I do not
coaching.
personally, I do not personally advise, okay, invest in this stock, invest in that stock. And that's because when it comes to looking at stock, there's a lot of research that needs to be done. And I'm gonna be honest, I hate that part of investing. But what I can do is I can give you some general basic concepts. So for example, you definitely want to get up to a point where you can invest 15% of your income so that you can be able to retire. And you're gonna wanna focus a lot more on mutual funds, because what mutual funds is basically a whole bunch of stocks that they've put together in a big bundle. And that actually helps a lot when they talk about diversifying your risk. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, a mutual fund is basically you putting your eggs in a whole bunch of different little baskets. So finding a couple of really good mutual funds is helpful. And I always advise people to get a really good financial advisor who's doing this research for you and who's explaining it to you. I have a financial advisor. He does the research, he tells us what he's doing, and then he goes and makes us more money. So find a good advisor and make sure that you trust them. If they're not willing to explain it to you until you get it, they're not a good advisor.
Right.
Awesome tip. I love that. I haven't heard anybody explain it like that. So that was really good stuff, girl. Thank you so much. Anyone else have any other question that you want to ask our financial expert here? Any other questions? So you all got that money thing just perfect. No issues, nothing, not a problem.
You know, there's a lot of embarrassment that actually comes with finances. So one of the things that I do is like when it comes to like my reviews on my website, most of the reviews you get are actually from business owners where I've done business coaching. But when it comes to personal finances, there's a lot of shame around it, there's a lot of fear around it. And so people tend to be really, really quiet. And then it's like when I'm off, they'll go and ask me questions on the side. So This is totally normal.
Okay, well, if you're on and listening to it on YouTube, you cannot ask her any questions. But if you want to connect with Tiana B. Clewis and maybe she become your financial coach, why don't you give them a telephone number or a website that they can go to? I know you said you gave the one website, so if you have a number or some other way to reach you.
So you can reach me at Tiana, Tiana, at CLAFC.com. CLA is spelled SELAH, FC.com. You can also call me at 817-618-2069.
Okay, and say that number one more time.
817-618-2069.
Great. We have a question.
I was gonna ask, like, do you think based off like what you make, you should get like no matter what percentage of that you should put aside, or just what you think you should just putting something aside? People always say at least put 20 aside every time you put like to really save like a good amount. What do you think is best?
Ideally, you want to get to a place where you're putting aside a percentage. Now, for some people, I've run into clients where literally like Once they pay all their bills, there's like $100 left over. And so in those cases, then yeah, putting aside $5 just so you get into the habit of saving works. But your goal is to get to a place where you're saving percentages. And that's because you are used to living a certain lifestyle. And ideally, when you retire, you want to be reasonably close to that same lifestyle. And so that's why we talk about saving like 10 to 15% of your income. Because typically what ends up happening is when you retire, your cost of living usually goes down a bit. And so if you saved about 15% of your income over the course of the 30, 40 years that you've been working, then by the time you retire, typically you can live a similar or close to the same lifestyle for the rest of your life and be comfortable. So that's the reason why I encourage you to get to a place where you're trying to save about 15% of your income.
So how important would you say budgeting is when it comes to like just spending, just things you like, not even need?
Budgeting is your best friend. So think of a budget this way. A lot of people think of a budget like a straitjacket. A budget is actually permission. It is permission for you to spend up to this amount. Because I have date night in my budget. I have clothes and shoes in my budget. I have, massages and personal care. That's in my budget. But it just has a limit to it. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, you guys, thank you. Give me your hand there. Well, this is going to actually wrap up our show, Bossmoves with Naomi Talk Show. I'm really excited that we have this opportunity. And as I always say, yes, you can be, you can do, and you can have all that God has planned for who? For you. And that's the Bossmoves.